Shalom and welcome once again to Treasures of the Torah. I'm Pastor Matt McEwen, and this week we're entering a new Sefer of the Torah, a new book. We're entering Devarim, or Deuteronomy. Now, in Deuteronomy 1:7, this comes from the wellspring of the Torah, a wonderful commentary that on my last trip to Israel with Rabbi Shapira, I picked up in a wonderful bookstore. It was like a treasure, this bookstore, in the middle of Mea Sharim. And it was a wonderful spot, and it was eye-opening. And we were actually there on election night and got into some heated discussions, let's just say. And we filmed it, and it's a part of year Aleph of the yeshiva. I'm just remembering that we actually were a little nervous for our safety for a moment there in a giant crowd. But getting back to the lesson here, while we were there, I bought this commentary on the Torah called the Wellspring of the Torah, and I treasure it. It's on the bookshelf behind me. Here's what it says with regard to verse 17 of chapter 1. Do not give anyone special recognition when rendering judgment. Now, the Torah explicitly speaks against taking bribes. And we all have an idea of what bribes are. You know, there's a law in my country against something that's known as payola. You see, back in the old days, it was difficult for a musician to get their music heard on the radio. And so a lot of times, special gifts or money or cars or things were used to bribe the disc jockeys so that they would play that particular musician's music. And it got to be so corrupt that the government stepped in and made it illegal. Still to this day, there are, shall we say, pay-to-play schemes where people still try to get around the law by giving certain gifts to DJs or certain privileges or whatever. We think we understand what a bribe is. Giving money or a gift, an item, a trip, a vacation, something like that. That seems like a bribe. But let's read what the wellspring of the Torah says about a parable about a widow. Listen to this. The great sage Rabbi Yehoshua Kutner had a widow come to him in the Beit Din, in the courthouse. She was weeping bitter tears, and she begged him to summon to the court a man she accused of having wronged her. She's seeking justice. Rabbi Yehoshua summoned the man to appear before the court, but then referred the case to another rabbi. He recused himself, refusing to preside over it himself. Why did he do this? He said, the Torah forbids the taking of bribes. And he explained, do you think that a bribe is only a gift of money? Tears can also be a bribe that blinds the clear-sighted, especially the tears of a poor widow. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, this might change our opinion on what the Torah means by giving a bribe. Have you ever had one of your children or grandchildren or maybe a friend? I hate to say it, maybe you yourself. Have you ever tried to get out of a punishment or to lessen someone's anger at you or to receive special treatment by becoming emotional? By appearing hurt to arouse the sympathy of the person that you were talking to? This also, according to Rabbi Yehoshua, can be seen as a bribe. This is maybe a way that we have never looked at this scripture before about taking bribes. But I think this is wisdom. We can, with our emotions, attempt to manipulate people, and that is also like a bribe. As Rabbi Yehoshua says, if you are a person with any kind of heart, if you have any kind of feelings, tears can be a bribe that blinds the clear-sighted, especially the tears of a poor widow. Be careful not to take bribes, and be careful not to offer them. I pray that this message has been an encouragement to you and that your Shabbat is going to be filled with peace and with rest If you'd like to join me in the school where I study, you can go to shuvu.tv and fill out an application there and join us as we go through this adventure of learning Torah. Thank you once again for being with me. I'm Pastor Matt McEwen. Shabbat Shalom.